Everybody to ERM 302 Analytics of E-Resources. This is Yoel Cortex, Senior Librarian at Ex Libris. And we're moving on now with our series on electronic resource management. Let's see where we are now in our series. I'm going to send out this link to everybody of the series. And I'm sure everybody already has it because we know people have registered through this page. However, I'll point it out again. This page includes the registration options for all of our sessions, and it also includes links to the recordings and links to any other material which we have been using along the way. So we're now way towards the end, but let's review what we've already done. We had a very general overview and background back in September. Then we dealt with the ordering and activating of collections, then the ordering and activating of portfolios, maintaining e-resources. You can see here, you've got a link on all of these cases. You've got a link to the YouTube playlist and to the presentations. Then troubleshooting discovery, overlap analysis, November 14th. Last week, we talked about the usage statistics, counter, and sushi harvesting. A lot of times during that session last week, I said next week we'll see this data in analytics. Now we're in analytics and we'll see this data in analytics. And now we are today at analytics of e-resources. Let's take a look. The presentations which I will be showing are here in this link, presentations for 2023 Managing Electronic Resources. If we open that up, we see here for each of the sessions, the corresponding presentations. And that's already a lead in to what we will be discussing today. So today we're going to be discussing the usage and cost per use in the e-inventory subject area, the overlap analysis and physical item usage for weeding, and we'll also be discussing the link resolver usage, and I will put that link here directly after the session. So let's begin. I'm going to go into an ALMA. We'll start inside an ALMA, and I will choose a location, and we'll go right into analytics. I will also point out that there's an in-depth description of the analytics subject areas here in the online help. You can just Google that. I'm not even going to give in the URL. All you have to put is ALMA analytics subject areas. And there we go, first shot. So we're going to be talking today about the e-inventory subject area, the title subject area, the link resolver usage, and the link resolver usage subject area. Those are the subject areas that contain electronic usage data from ALMA. We'll also be discussing the usage data counter subject area, which doesn't take data directly from ALMA, but rather directly from the counter reports, which we saw last week. In a roundabout way, it is taking it from ALMA because we load the counter reports to ALMA, then they go to the usage data subject area. However, as we'll see, there may be cases where there's a resource which is included in a counter report, which is not in ALMA, and that will be in ALMA Analytics. So let's start discussing that as we begin. So usage and cost per use in the e-inventory subject area. We're going to start with the usage. So there's two subject areas here. We have the e-inventory subject area, which includes everything that is in ALMA and in a counter report. That means that if you loaded a counter report that has a title, for example, Library Science Online, and that title you do not have in Alma, it will not appear in the e-inventory subject area. It will, however, be included in the usage data subject area. Let's take a look. So I'm in an Alma here, and we'll jump into analytics. And we're going to start with the usage data subject area. Again, the usage data subject area includes everything which is in a counter report, which you may have loaded to Alma, like we saw last week via the sushi harvesting, also possible to do it manually. It will be in the usage data subject area. So let's go into the usage data subject area, create analysis. And here we have usage data subject area, and we have in parentheses there counter, so that everybody is aware that that's coming directly from the counter reports. So we're going to focus only on release 5. We still have the release 4 in here. There are some vendors, as I mentioned last week, that do still use counter release 4. However, the focus and the majority are using release 5. So let's come and make a basic report here. So we have here all of the measures. Last week, when we looked at the counter reports, we saw various measures. And let's say, for example, we're interested in the TRJ1 total item requests. And that's a counter measure. Again, we could do a simple search here and say TRJ1. Let's get the exact name, total item requests. And we have a link here, in this case from Cambridge University. We've got another one here directly from the counter site. And we can see here, TRJ1, here we are, TRJ1 and explanations. We're not going to go into all the explanations now. The point is you can come here and see, for example, what these are. Here's the TRJ1, an explanation. When someone comes and someone clicks to view an article, etc. Unique item requests would be how many times uniquely it was clicked, not the overall total. And you can read all that online. We're not going to go into the details of every measure. There's a lot of measures here. So let's say I have an electronic collection. For example, an electronic collection name, which includes, for example, Wiley. And I want to know the journals in this collection, how are they being used? Or a certain platform, how are they being used? So we can come in here and start making a report. Now, it's always recommended that before making the report, before doing results, it's a good idea to put in the filters, because that way it's working on less data. So maybe we want to know for 2022. We saw last week that the counter data is provided from the vendors either the following month or even later. Like, we're not going to have November 2023 data already from a vendor, because November is not over. We'll have it in the best possible scenario, beginning of December. So maybe we want 2022. So let's say we want usage date year 2022. So we'll filter this by 2022. And maybe we also want the platforms. So we'll come to the platforms, and let's say we want the platform Wiley. So let's do a search here of Wiley. And many times the platforms will appear in many different ways for the same platform. And that's not us Ex Libris doing that. That's because it appears differently in the counter reports. You can see ACS Publications appears as ACS and ACS Publications. Same thing with APS, ACS, Allen Press appears Allen Press and Allen Press Pinnacle, simply because the counter reports came through once one way and once another way. Emerald appears 3 ways, but let's not get Emerald. We'll take care of now Wiley. So let's see what we got here for Wiley. Wiley Online Library. Okay, great. So we'll start very basic. We want to know, are our resources from Wiley being used? And if so, how much? So we'll start by just throwing out the numbers, and then we'll start seeing what's going on with them. We'll start to filter it differently. No TRJ1 item requests. It could be that these are books. It could be anything. Let's see why we don't have any of those. We'll see other measures. So let's say we want here, for example, because we're doing a platform here. So let's get the platforms. So we'll say PRP1 searches platform. Also, no, very interesting. Well, that can also tell us something. We don't have anything from them, or that we're not uploading from them, uploading counter reports from them. Looks like that's the case, that for 2022, nothing was loaded. Let's see what else we've got here. We'll get rid of the Wiley Online platform, the filter that is. We'll leave 2022. And let's see now what we've got, which platforms do have data. Okay, so we see here that we have TRJ1 for Cambridge Core. We have for IEEE Explorer, we've got platform data. For ACM, we also have. So those are the only ones we've got. Let's say now we want to go deeper into Cambridge Core here. So let's say we want platform now, Cambridge Core. So we'll say platform filter Cambridge Core. And maybe we also want to see how has this changed over time. So we have the year. We can put in the month key as well. Now, in the date filters, date folders, not only in this subject area, in all of the subject areas, we have a month and a month key. And if you want to make a graph showing how things change and sort it, it's best to use the month key, which is 01, 02, 03 for January, February, March, as opposed to the name, because if we use the name, we can't sort. It would be sorted alphabetically, and January, February, March wouldn't work. Okay, so what do we got here? 2022 Cambridge Core. Let's put this at the beginning because they're all Cambridge Core anyway. And we've got the year and the month and then the total. Let's first of all save this. And we'll say save as. And I'll put that in the My Folders for now. So we have now Cambridge Core usage for TRJ1 for 2022. Now we could, for example, put this also into a graph. Let's say visualization here, new view, and let's choose a graph. Let's put a line graph. Okay, so we see a big spike in July, big spike December 11, October, November. Nothing overly drastic, but we see the use. Let's save this. So we're able here to see what is the trend of usage for Cambridge Core. We might want to also see what is the overall trend of usage, not even just for Cambridge Core, for all of them. So we could here get rid of the Cambridge Core. I'll also even get rid of the display of the platform. So now all we have is TRJ1 total item requests by year and month. Let's see what we got. So it looks like the Cambridge Core, same general trends, big in July, big in October, November. And we could also add here another measure and compare what is the usage of our journals as opposed to our books. So if we want to see the books, we'll take the TRB1 total item request. Let's add that. I'm just going to drag it in from the results. And let's add it here as well. It didn't get added because I added it after we made the graph, but we can edit this, edit the view, and add it in. It's probably in the excluded section on the bottom. Yep, there it is. So we'll put this together with the measures here. And done. So what do we see here? We see that, again, it's using the same general trends, and there are actually more book electronic usage than journal electronic usage, because the green we see is the green, the TRJ1, and the, excuse me, yes, the green is the TRB1. There's more book requests than there are journals, but they're all following the same general trend. Let's save this one as well. And we'll call this usage for TRJ1 and TRB1 for 2022. So what have we done so far in summary? We got data from those counter reports that we saw last time, and we checked to see for a specific platform how much is being used, and we checked for a specific, for overall, how much is being used. What are the general trends of usage? And that's what we've got here on the screen. Let's now see what materials, what resources are being used the most. We can do that by the actual titles, or we can do it by the platforms. So let's say, I'm going to close this graph for now. Let's say we don't need to display now the usage month key because we're going to do it overall for the year. We don't even need to display the year. It's all 2022. And then let's get the platform. And we'll see what are the big ones. We could do it by publisher as well, but let's stay with platform. And let's just do the TRB1 for now. And let's say we want to sort this descending. I clicked on the cogwheel here and did sort descending. And let's see now what we've got here. This is going to show us which platforms are most in use for 2022. And there's only one. These are all 0. Okay, let's try that with the publisher. So we also have a publisher here. Let's even also put in the TRJ1 before we do that. So here we are, TRJ1, TRJ1. I'll just do a search, TR_J1. There we go. And let's say here also sort descending. Cambridge Core, like we saw before. So we have just one platform in both cases, which is being used. Let's see the publisher now. So instead of the platform, we'll put in the publisher. By the way, I could just delete the platform and then add the publisher. Another way, this is just a little analytics thing, not necessarily directly related to e-resources. I could just replace it right here. So instead of the platform, I'll say publisher. Boom. Okay, let's see what we got now by publisher, excuse me, for TRJ1. Okay, Cambridge. So these are all from those Cambridge Core, which is why the two big ones are Cambridge. So these are the biggest publishers that we're ordering, which are being used. So let's say we don't want those which is 0. So we'll get rid of that. We'll say filter either is greater than 0 or greater than or equal to 1. And we can call this save as top publishers for 2022 for eJournal usage. Okay. So what have we done so far? We checked our usage by one platform over the course of a year. We checked our overall usage, both by journals and by books over the course of a year. And now we've checked our top publishers. Let's see now this Cambridge University Press, for example. Let's see an actual counter report in how it's being displayed here. So we have in the usage data subject area a possibility to find where did this specific data come from. So let's say let's put the platform back in here now. And let's look at the titles for that platform, Cambridge University Press. And then we're going to see the report that it came in. So we'll say platform. What was it? I forgot already. Sorry about that. Cambridge Core, I believe. Cambridge Core. So let's say we want platform filter Cambridge Core. And maybe we want 2023. And we'll keep the TRJ1. Let's put in the month key as well. So that's going to be in the usage date, month key. And let's take a look. Okay, so let's sort this descending by the month. Okay, so May. So no data has been loaded for platform Cambridge Core since May. Let's see in May, what were the big ones? Or in general, what are the biggest titles being used? So let's get rid of the display of the month key. We're going to go look at the counter report in a minute. And let's now say we want the title. We don't even need the publisher anymore. And we'll put in the title. So we have the title identifier. This is the title as it appears inside the counter report. Let's put it in right here. So it could theoretically be different than what you have in ALMA. Journal of Fluid Mechanics. And like I said, theoretically, and it's not uncommon, there will be a title here that does not exist in ALMA. It happens. Because it might be that you've ordered something from the vendor, and for whatever reason, it doesn't appear in ALMA. Here it does. We do have Journal of Fluid Mechanics, electronic. And that's ours, Cambridge University Press. We're looking at Cambridge Core. That's the platform. So that's the one. So this one here had 3,252 requests. In other words, someone clicked on it to view the article in 2023. Let's in fact save this. We'll call this top titles for Cambridge Core in 2023. Now let's start looking at the counter report. Where did this come from on the Journal of Fluid Mechanics? Let's focus just on the Journal of Fluid Mechanics. Filter that by Journal of Fluid Mechanics. 2023 we've already got. There we are. Let's put in now the month key. Usage date month key. And we'll start focusing much more specifically. We'll focus on May only. So this will be 5. Now, we also have here the load file. This is the counter report that it came from. So here's the load file ID, which we're going to see we can use that to go get the counter report. Here's the name of the file. Here's the date it was uploaded. And here's the upload method, whether it was via Sushi or manual. Let's go take a look now. Now we're going to get a lot of rows because we're going to get, we're going to get one. Because actually, yeah, we're going to get one because we have only May and only one title. So this Journal of Fluid Mechanics, which has 934 TRJ1 total item requests for May, was loaded via Sushi on June 2nd, and this is the name of the file. Now, I can take this load file ID, and you'll recall last week in Alma, under acquisitions, we have import and load usage data. I can go see now that report. If you have a question of why is certain data appearing in a certain way in the counter usage of analytics, you can investigate like I'm doing now. So that's the load file ID right here, 16606, etc. Here it is. I'm looking now for that specific counter report. Here it is. And if you recall from last week, we can download it. You see it's a TRJ1. Download. So now everything's fitting together from what we did last week. Let's open that file. So here it is. Let's open the header. Okay, journal request TRJ1 Cambridge Core. And now these are the different items. So this, for example, is Cambridge Core Journal of Helminthology. And we have, not that one, we have Journal of Fluid Mechanics. And let's look that in the raw data. There it is. Oh, that's a Journal of Mechanics. Here it is, Journal of Fluid Mechanics. I know it's hard to read here, but the main point is that we're seeing the data. So we have from May to May for Platform Cambridge Core, for Title Journal of Fluid Mechanics, from publisher Cambridge University Press, the ISSN, etc. And then we've got the data here. Let me take that out. I'm going to just copy this just so we can see only that. But what we're seeing now, exactly what we see here. 934 TRJ1 total item requests. And here it is, 934 total item requests. I know it's hard to read. It's a JSON file, but my point here is simply to show that this is the counter report that it's coming from. Total item request 934. If we were to put in the unique item requests, we'd get 727. And so that's where it's coming from. We saw last week how we can load this. I'm going to put this into a regular notepad so we can see it a little more clearly. So we got the begin date and the end date. We got the platform. We got the title, the publisher. That's how it's identified. And then we've got the metrics. Total item requests 934, unique item requests 727. Just for the fun, let me take a little risk here. If I were to put in now the TRJ1 unique item requests, so right now we got the TRJ1 total item requests, unique item requests, unique item title investigations. Let's put these all in there. Oh, here we are. This is the one I want. TRJ1. Okay. So here's the TRJ1 unique item request 727, total item request 934. Back to the file we just loaded. There it is. 934, 727. So that's how the counter report comes and then is displayed inside analytics. I'm going to stop for a moment, look at the chat, and see if there's any questions or comments. How can I check which release okay, it's per vendor. Yes, it's per vendor. And you can also see which release your institution is using. It's per vendor, not per institution, but you can see per file what release it is, because within the load file folder that we saw here, you've also got a counter release type. So load file counter release, R5. Okay. Now for this usage data subject area that we've been looking at so far, and we want to move on, there's also an out-of-the-box, ready-to-use set of reports and a dashboard. Now, all of the out-of-the-box materials are under the Alma folder. And there's a folder here called Usage via Counter Reports Release 5. This one that doesn't say anything is the old one we had, still works, but it's only for Release 4. So in most places, it's not going to have too much data. I'm going to go into the dashboard here and open. And again, this is all in those PowerPoints, which I pointed to a little while ago. So here's the trends by month. It automatically goes to the previous year. Here we see that for the searches by platform, it went way up. Now, we need to keep in mind, this is reflecting whatever was loaded via counter reports. So if the institution is loading counter reports consistently, then this will be accurate. Now, it could be that 2022, let's change this to 2023 just for the fun. It could be that if this is using release 5, maybe some vendors in 2022 were just moving over. So let's try 2023 apply and see if it also huge. Okay, so that's probably what it was, because now we have something covering more of the year. You see it goes up to October because it's now November and no data was loaded already for November. And then we can do here, like we did, we made manually one about the TRJ1. So here also I can say, give me the TRJ1 total item requests instead of the PRP1, apply, and probably get a similar trend. Nope, not exactly. Fairly consistent. A rise. Nothing loaded after May. Let's go back to 2022. Full year. Now, I mentioned last week that sometimes the vendors will give a file of several months. So the fact that for the TRJ1 here, we didn't see anything after May, it may be that in the beginning of 2024, a vendor will send something for several months. And that's not uncommon. I won't say it's common, but it's not uncommon. It happens. They'll send one file with a lot of many months of data. And you can see that, by the way, here in the start date, end date. Like here, it's from August to October. One counter file went from August to October. Excuse me. Yeah. But other times it's November to December. In any case, that's why it's always best to look, if you're looking for trends, to look along an entire previous year. Then we've got the most used titles, which we made a report like that ourselves. So this is taking which titles have the most use in 2022 according to the TRB1 and the TRJ1, which means it's looking for books and it's looking for journals. And then I won't go through all of these. I think they're pretty clear. It checks by the platforms. We saw this as well. Now there's one here called counter report loading, which gives an indication of how counter reports have been loaded. So if we're looking here, last complete 24 months. So in the last 24 months, which is from November 1st to October 31st, 2021 to 2023, 437 files were loaded. And there was a major spike here in July 2023. And they were loaded manually. Usage amounts for all materials for the past 3 calendar years. This also may have some funny stuff because of the switch from release 4 to release 5, but it takes 3 calendar years ago and gives the measures of how many were loaded. Okay, so that's the usage data subject area. Let's move on now to the e-inventory subject area. But I want to make sure we cover the title subject area as well. So this one here, I want to briefly look at this PowerPoint. This A is the e-inventory. I'll explain this funny looking Venn diagram, but this was the best way to describe it. B is the usage data subject area. So the e-inventory subject area has everything that's in Alma. The usage data subject area has everything in the counter reports, the majority of which will also be in Alma. And the usage data inside the e-inventory subject area includes only those titles which are also in Alma. Let's go take a look. So this time we'll say create analysis. And we'll go to the e-inventory subject area. So there's a subfolder here, if we scroll down a bit, called cost usage. And this takes, you can use it to get only usage or cost per use. Now, we have a lot of documentation on how the cost per use is calculated in the developers network. I'm in the developers network now. And if I just put here, for example, cost per use, we've got a lot of blogs here on cost per use. Here we go. I'm just going to click the tag. So these all describe how the cost per use is calculated, why the usage may have decimal points. This is the best resource for questions about how the cost per use is calculated, because it goes to the purchase order. It actually takes the cost from the expenditure of the fund of the purchase order line, which is associated with the resource. And then there's a whole method of how is it matched. We saw, for example, the Journal of Fluid Mechanics a moment ago. So if there's a purchase order line for the Journal of Fluid Mechanics for $100 and there was 937 uses and it was $100 for a year, then it's got to be 100 divided by 937. For the usage, or 937 divided by 100. In any case, everything is explained here. I'm going to show in analytics how we can see that. So let's start now with the cost usage measures. So these are measures like we saw measures in the usage data subject area. So here we also have measures. So we looked, for example, previously at usage TRJ1. So that's going to be here. And the usage dates here use the fiscal periods. So let's get fiscal periods start end. And I happen to be in an environment that's using calendar year like the fiscal period. In other words, it's not starting in June and ending in May 3rd, June 1st to May 31st. It's like the calendar year. So let's even get the current. So that's going to be here. So for the current fiscal period, let's see for usage TRJ1, what are the titles being used? By the way, there's also here a tooltip to explain how to use this. If you just put your mouse over that. All this is in the PowerPoint. So now I can use the bibliographic details to get the bibliographic information, because what happens is the counter report gets loaded into Alma and looks for a match of a bibliographic record in Alma. So let's now go get the title. So now we're going to see, like we did in the usage data subject area, we're going to see the usage per titles for TRJ1. But we'll also be able to see more information because now we have all of the information which is in the e-inventory subject area as well. Okay, so here we have, let's say usage TRJ1 is not null or is 1 or greater. Filter is greater than 0. And someone asked while we're waiting for that to load, okay, let's load it, then we'll get to that. So here's all the titles. We should have the Journal of Fluid Mechanics in here, by the way. So now we've got them all here. And again, we could come along and sort this descending and get the biggest ones, et cetera, et cetera. Here it is, the Journal of Fluid Mechanics. That's the one we saw before. We saw the same one. This is actually a good example. We saw this in the usage data subject area. And now we also have it here in the e-inventory subject area. And now I can use all the other fields that I have here, which I don't have in the usage data subject area. For example, bibliographic details. I can get, for example, here, something I might not have, network number. Might not have the network number, in fact, I won't, in the counter report. Or the MMS ID I'm not going to have also. Publisher I will have, but that's the publisher as the counter report determined it. In any case, someone asks, can we see the whole history of a title from the time it was activated until today? Let me get the exact question there. Let me go to the chat here. Is it possible to have the usage statistics for a single title from the moment it was activated to the present? Yes. For example, we can let's take the Journal of Fluid Mechanics. So I could take this Journal of Fluid Mechanics, then I want to move on to the title subject area, because that's a very powerful subject area when it comes to electronic. So I'll say title filter, Journal of Fluid Mechanics, and I'll no longer filter by that. And there we go. So now it's going to give me for the whole history. In this case, it's going to give me the whole history based on the fiscal period start end. So I can see here, let's put this in this order. It went from, I'm going to remove clear all sorts. And we don't need to display that. So now I can get the history of it from the time it started. If I want by actual month, I would need to do that in the usage data subject area. Let's do that. Create analysis, usage data counter. And now we'll say title identifier. Let's say display title. Is the Journal of Fluid Mechanics. Let me do it like this so we're sure we got the right one. And now I could say, give me the TRJ1 unique title, total item. And I'll say, someone just asked, by the way, if there's something for the denials. Yeah, there is. There's another measure for exceeded, or one thing at a time. Hold on. So now I'm going to put in here the year and the month. So we'll get the year, the month key, and that should do it. So 2018, 2019, here's the total item requests. So it's the whole history of this journal. And now if I wanted to see that in a line graph, I could say, give me a line graph. And, whoa, it made it pretty fancy. We could actually play it that way, but let's say we want here the usage date year and the usage date month. There we go. So we got here, oh, we want the opposite. We want the year before the month. Okay. Great. So now let's say done. So now I have the usage across all the time. Here it doesn't have any data yet. Here it didn't have any data, but we can see here. Okay, I'm going to move on now to the title subject area. By the way, someone asked about denials. If we also get the measures for denials, I'll get the exact quote. Is there a report for denials, or do we need to get those for the vendors? There is when someone tries to get something and there's no license, or limit exceeded when there's a concurrent users and you went over the concurrent users, it will get limit exceeded, or when something needs a license and there is no license. So you've got a couple of those, limit exceeded and no license. Okay, those are types of denials. Now, let's go take a look at the title subject area. I'm going to move it a little quicker here. Create analysis. Now, in the title subject area, a little background on the title subject area. It was invented because until we had the title subject area, everything was siloed. I say siloed meaning everything digital was in one subject area, everything electronic was in the e-inventory subject area, everything digital was in the digital subject area. The title subject area came to combine them all, and that way you can compare. So among the measures here is how many items does a title have, how many electronic portfolios does it have, and how many digital does it have. So you can compare those kind of things. And then you can get number of physical stuff, number of portfolios. This is the electronic part. So we've taken this title subject area and made what I think is probably the best of all of our default dashboards. And you can combine data from physical and electronic in order to do overlaps. And this is the best place to do the overlaps. Not like the overlap collection analysis. Just to be clear, a few weeks ago we did a session on the overlap collection analysis that checks duplicate titles within electronic collections. This is checking overall. For example, I'm going to say I want everything which hasn't been loaned. This is by default giving me the last 5 years. Everything that hasn't been loaned in the past 5 years. And in the last 365 days, it has less than 0 loans. And then I can do it by subject, by Dewey number, by LC classification code. I'm going to say LC classification code HQ, for example, in material type book. So this is now, and there's also options to use different overlaps. You can do it by ISSN, ISBN, or the normalized title and normalized author, which is actually the most accurate. Because when you're comparing physical and electronic, if you try to compare with ISBNs and ISSNs, it will often have different ones. So let's take a look at what we've got here. For example, 1001 beds, performance, essays, and travels. So it has one physical and one electronic. If we were to go look at this in Alma, we will see, sure enough, that 1001 beds, performance, essays, and travels. Here, it's got electronic, 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 and here's one with physical. They're all the same. 1001 beds, electronic, performance, essays, and travels. And 3 of them are here with electronic. And 1 has physical. Let's take another example. I'm just going to scroll through here. By the way, you can see what it does here is it takes the normalized title. It got rid of the and here, the ampersand. I'll make this a little bigger. It got rid of the ampersand. Here's the normalized, and here's the title. And you can see it takes this WHIT as the first 4 characters of the author. So for example, Whitborn Stacy B, author, and these Whitborn Susans are probably the same. It could be wrong, but the chances of 2 Whitborn S writing adult and aging is very rare. So when the author appears slightly different, because it normalizes them, everything comes together. For example, here, there's 4 records of aging and older adulthood by Joan T. Erber. Sometimes it was written Joan T. author, and sometimes just Joan T. But it's normalized to just the first 4 characters, ERBE. And there's a lot of cases like that where the author will appear slightly differently, but because we're normalizing it, same thing here. This is Jeffrey Escoffier, author, and Jeffrey Escoffier. Let's go take a look at this one. It says here that we've got 1 with physical and two with electronic. On the top here is the electronic and the physical. So let's go take a look at that one as an example. And we should see those duplicates. So here's an electronic and here's the physicals. There's two, it looks like there's two electronics and two physicals. And we can also go and get the actual MMS ID here and go look inside. So that's the title, the overlap P and E. I'm just going to come back here, return. And this dashboard has a lot of different options here. For example, overlap E and E will show all of those which have duplicates, let's say subject library science. So this is going to give all of the electronic resources that are duplicates. And then there's another one there. We're almost out of time, so I'll just mention it. There's another one there, overlap P and P. So let's take a look here what we got. This is everything. This is by inventory. So for example, this one, advances in librarianship. Yeah, that's of course going to have a lot. Let me go back on the bottom here and do a return. And I'm going to say material type, this time book, because on journals, there will for sure will be a lot of titles. Library science. So I'm getting now material type book, subject library science. Let's go see what we got here. That number in the last column is number of portfolios. And let's even sort this descending. So we get the big ones on top. Let's say something's got a selected papers from the 3rd Shanghai International Library Forum. We'll come over here. Boom. Here it is. Selected papers from the 3rd. Selected papers from the 3rd Shanghai Library Forum. And let's go this way. Okay, so we can get it by the title. We can get it by the MMS ID. Someone asked here, let me go back into the chat there. Okay, P is physical, E is electronic, and D is question mark digital. Yes, D is digital. I'm going to scroll down here and say return to get back to the dashboard. So there's also for D for digital in this dashboard, even though that's not our topic. Overlap E and D. That's checking electronic, physical, electronic and digital. Overlap any inventory. So now it doesn't matter. It could be P and P, physical and physical. Physical ones with the same, let's even say here, subject library science. So this one, just because we're on this dashboard, I'll show it, is going to check overlaps for only physical. And in this case, subject library science. And we'll just wait for these results, and then we're going to have to close. Now, I know this is physical, and our topic is electronic, but I'm in the title subject area, which is showing everything. So this one here, acronyms and abbreviations. This is a duplicate. It gives the libraries that it's in. And if we come here now and I were to search for all titles title, I could go by physical titles too, because this one has physical. Then we will see the same title. See, it's also electronic. Wow. So this has physicals, duplicate physicals, and an electronic. Perhaps that could be weeded or deselected. That's the whole point of these dashboards, to find out what's duplicate and what we might not need. But here's the physical for this one, separate MMS IDs, duplicates. Okay, we are out of time. That was a quick session. And thanks, everybody. And we will be posting the recording as we usually do. And we hope to see you next week. Have a nice day, everybody. Bye-bye.